Hey there, this is Sfigurereviews. In this review, I'm going to be looking at something I've liked in the past. Something that I thought maybe I could get back into very temporarily. And that is Funko Soda vinyl figures. So a quick little story tied to these figures. They are basically 4-inch statues of some of your most popular, iconic characters across all of pop culture. In this case, we're looking at the Mighty Thor. This is in his classic Jack Kirby style, and one of the greatest villains, one of the forefathers of villainy in pop culture, Bluto from the Popeye universe. So what we have here, Thor was a summer convention exclusive for 2021. Bluto also released in 2021, but was a standard release. These statues / figures go for about 25 to 30 standard at the time. Not many retailers sell them anymore, so basically you have to go to eBay in the aftermarket, and they're all over the place. If they're open, they're going to be cheaper. If they're sealed, they're going to be a lot of money. For me, I got Thor for a really good price at $15 sealed, and Bluto I got for $18 opened. So both of these are the standard editions, and I love with the cans how they were color coordinated to the characters. The blue and this golden American cheese yellow with Bluto, and the red and blue with Thor. It's really nice. And we have Thor and Bluto with their pogs. So it's Bluto and Thor. The numbers are obviously going to vary compared to actually the piece count. So these are international editions. What's interesting is the United States editions of these actually had a higher piece count compared to the internationals. So there was more chance of actually getting a rarer figure in the Australian version than there is in the United States version. But that could have also been the same thing with each country's international editions. Essentially what these were blind bag figures in a can. That was the whole gimmick. They were collectibles in a can. They were easy to store, thin figures. They were unlike their other Funko products that fill all retail stores. Basically, you were buying a can and you were hoping for the variant. For me, I didn't really give a damn about the variant. I was lucky to get a few, but I didn't really care. And this was thankfully, it was sort of a blind bag. You knew you were most likely going to get the common, but there was that chase variant. For Bluto, it was a black and white laughing one. For Thor, it was a glow-in-the-dark variant. And they were on a bit of a glow-in-the-dark kick for the past couple of years in Funko products. Okay, so I filmed myself opening up the Thor because this was sealed, and I haven't opened one for so long, and I just thought maybe there's a possibility I could get the variant. It was just that adrenaline, that dopamine boost that I got. I was excited. I was like, wow, really? This was not a scam. This was legit. And what's interesting about the Thor can as well is that if you notice, it's one of the only cans that actually says soda collectible. A lot of the exclusives said soda collectible, whereas the standard release like Bluto had the phrase soda figure. But I really do love how the Thor looks. Let's have a look at him first. And I have to say off the bat, I love the colors. I think he looks awesome. I love the silver paint that I've gone for the winged helmet. Even though his head's a bit bent, or one of his wings is a bit bent, I don't care. It's all good. The yellow plastic. It's a variety of just different color plastics. The red cape. It's the classic Kirby style with the winged sort of T-belt. I love the sort of brassish pieces that are on his suit. They're not brass really, but it's the kind of paint style, metallic paint. He's got a few scuffs. That's okay. But he looks really good, clean overall. And it's a great sculpt. He's got a good build. And then with Bluto as well, this is probably my favorite of the two. Just because Bluto looks exactly like how you'd picture him. Even though they were this 4-inch scale figures, or 3.75 inch for 4-inch scale, they were really well detailed. And I wish Bluto was bigger, but to fit in with the aesthetic, majority of the figures were this small size. They did have soda bottles, which very few figures actually got given. I think the Juggernaut, Hulk, the Iron Giant, and for some reason Baby Groot were given larger figures in these soda bottles, like these 1.25 litre soda bottles. But Bluto here is a really nice sculpt. Again, the blue is so clean. It's all clean paint. I love that evil teeth coming out with him. The clean, pearly whites, the beard. I do wish, my one complaint with Bluto is that I wish there was a bit of a change. Maybe the shirt could have been lighter or the beard could have been lighter, because you kind of lose it. Because it blends too much in with the sculpt, and you lose some of those finer details like the beard and the shirt. I love the big fisted hands. It's so clean. That was such an advantage of having these soda figures. It was a gimmick that unfortunately died out. So 2020 to 2025, this line was cancelled in 2025, which is such a shame. And I'll tell you why I think it was cancelled. It was because they started to produce more mainstream media characters. For example, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. They were doing characters for them. They were doing characters of the latest Ninja Turtles. They were doing characters from Marvel What If and other current brands which were going to cease to exist very short term. So I think that's why that it started to die out. But Thor and Bluto are prime examples here of what was meant to be the classic aesthetic, where they were going to do classic characters like Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters, like the Flintstones, and Squiddly Diddly, and even some Cartoon Network stuff like Samurai Jack and Aku. In recent years, they did Ben 10 and Accelerate. They did a variety of other Ninja Turtles and Scooby-Doo and Batman, Robin, a variety of Batmans. They did a few Spider-Mans. Yeah, they jumped across the entire pop culture medium. Okay, so on to articulation. Yeah, there's nothing. You're not going to get anything out of these guys. They're just frozen statues. And it's very interesting that these guys have no points of articulation, yet there are other standard Funko products. Unless you're a Marvel or a Star Wars bobblehead, typically there's actually movement in the heads that they can just twist a full 360, and you can switch the heads. But I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. So I want to give, for a size comparison, a few just different options. I have here Plastic Man from the DC Legion of Collectors Legacy Box. Along with that, I have Duffman, Popeye, The Thing, and Red Hood, just for a variety of other lines that Funko has attached themselves to. So the Popeye universe, The Simpsons, Marvel, and DC. And the scaling is on par with so many of these pop vinyl figures. The sodas actually fit in pretty well. I would say that maybe if they had some head movement, or if they were like little 5-point articulated figurines, I would have been more impressed with them. But even as sort of a paperweight, they're really nice. Next up, I have a few just other lines that could kind of scale with them. Basically, in the front, we have the DC Ushies, Large Ushies Flash. We have the Medicom toy, Bear Bricks, Spider-Man number 4, Symbiote Spider-Man / Black Suit Spider-Man, and Magneto number 2 from the X-Men blind raffle. And then in the back, we have the McFarlane Toys DC Superpowers line, which was a bit upscale compared to the previous line. We have modern takes on Darkseid from the New 52 line, and John Stewart Green Lantern. Because it's an action figure review channel, we've got to actually do some action figure review size comparisons. And for me, I've got here, left to right, we have the Jada Toys Creeper from the Scooby-Doo line, we have Captain Carrot from the McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector Edition line, and we have on the standard Marvel Legends body, on the Vulcan body, Legendary Star-Lord in his classic attire, and Cable from X-Men 97 with the Marvel vs. Capcom Cable head on there, because I think that looks awesome. Final comparison, we have the rest of my sodas, and then DC ones. We have Martian Manhunter, the Chase variant of Aquaman, Common Plastic Man, and the Chase variant of Hawkman. If I was to rank my little small collection of best to worst, bottom for me, even though he's my favorite superhero of all time, it's got to be Plastic Man. I hate the picture on the can. I hate the common version. The common version of Plastic Man Doesn't have any stretched out limbs. I think the common version should have at least had a stretched out arm. In this case, he just looks bland and boring. And the Chase variant has basically his arms wrapped around himself. And that looks badass. This doesn't. This looks cheap and lame. Stretched out hammer hand or an arm or a big hand would have been perfect. Second from the bottom, but it's a massive step up no matter what. And that's Thor. Thor's not what I really needed, but I like to collect in even numbers. And I do love how this looks. Definitely depicts classic Kirby style. I love the fine details. Simplistic, but effective. It looks really good overall. And I love the picture of the can. I think it looks great to the source material. And I wish most of the Marvel ones ended up like this, but they did not. Third from the bottom is Bluto, so fourth place. Why Bluto, even though he's one I wanted for a long time? Just because he doesn't really fit in with the aesthetic. The other superheroes, he's not. Or he's kind of like a villain, but a cartoony villain. I do love him. He's the only villain I have in this little group, this little lineup. But I think he looks wonderful and still works with the aesthetic of the other sodas. I love the colors. I love that expression. It just pops and it's so accurate to the can reference image. Looks great. Yeah. At number, well, let's say 3 and 2 because it's sort of a joint place. We have the Chase variants of Aquaman and Hawkman. I love how they both look. Aquaman with the metallic paint looks so much better than the common version. And Hawkman's sort of the same. He looks better with the flocked wings and the mace compared to the plain plastic wings, grey wings. With the shield, I think the Aquaman, I don't like his can anyway. I love Hawkman's artwork on the can. I hate Aquaman's artwork on the can. I think the colours, though, are great on both of them. I think I'm sort of leaning towards Hawkman being second because there is some sentimental value. And that was the last one I got for a long time. And I spent $30 on him. It was a lot. But it's sentimental because I was hanging out with friends. I opened this up and we all got excited that I got the variant. It was $30 well spent for a good memory. And Aquaman was my second soda. I don't really like the Trident. It's a bit gummy. But apart from that, he looks really good overall. Simplistic design. Classic Aquaman. I love it. And then in first place, a character who's just not flawed. We have the Martian Manhunter. I love the can of the artwork. It's my favourite can of the bunch. I love just the simplistic design. This was my first ever Funko soda. I remember getting him. This was after the first lockdown in 2020. And I bought him with the Scarlet Witch West Coast Avengers Marvel Legends figure. And I just love how simplistic design is. The colours are just perfect. The design, like the little details are just fine and nice. And even in this simple stance, this stern, just standing as he is, I don't think he has to perform some sort of extra movement to look as great as he does here. And I love the bright greens. I think the bright greens just bring out definitely that classic Martian Manhunter look. If I had to rank the cans themselves from worst to best, Plastic Man, Aquaman, Thor, Bluto, Hawkman, Martian Manhunter having the best artwork. So what are my final thoughts on the Funko Soda vinyl figures, Mighty Thor and Bluto? I think they're amazing. Though they don't pose. Those already in a fixed pose. They're simple, they look great on a shelf. I think if you had a bunch of them, they'd look excellent together. Even the few that I have, they look great. I love the colours, they pop, they work. Funko and the design team, when they were working on the soda line, clearly captured the aesthetic and the design of Thor and Bluto from the source material that they decided to use. I think they look excellent. And Funko, though they generally do simplistic designs for across their entire line, across all of their brands, they typically nail the look in a simple form of so many characters in all of pop culture. Even the ones that I did the side-by-side comparisons with, Duffman, The Thing, Red Hood, Popeye, Plastic Man, the sodas like Martian Manhunter and Aquaman and Hawkman and Plastic Man, they all look great. So would I recommend this line? Absolutely. I wish it didn't die. If they had not chosen to do the modern takes on a bunch of films like the Ninja Turtles and a bunch of the modern Marvel stuff, I think we would have had an excellent line that would have survived for a few more years. So if you ever find Bluto or Thor for a really good price online, or you see them at a collectible store for a really good price, I'd grab them. Even if you get the common versions, they look great no matter what. I'm happy with the common versions. At least I actually have them. But if you like this type of content, if you're into action figure reviews, or you just want to support something, support Sfigurereviews. It's a free channel. There's no membership garbage. I don't believe in that. I think it's a scam. I buy stuff because I want it. I don't buy stuff because you have to buy stuff just for the sake of it. I buy stuff because I'm emotionally invested. I want to buy versions of the characters that I'm interested in. I don't need to be a completionist. I'm not. Alright? I'm like you. I've got a strict dollar to follow. But I like to get things like these once in a while that fit in anywhere. So, this has been Sfigurereviews. I hope you have enjoyed watching this Funko Soda review, double review of Thor and Bluto. Please give this channel a subscribe if you're interested. This has been Sfigurereviews. Thanks for watching.